Hello?
Hi, is this Chris?
Yeah, this is Christian Chandler. May I help you?
Hey, Chris, this is Alec Benson Leary again. How are you?
Oh, I would have expected you to call at 9:30. But anyway.
Oh, I actually did try to call at 9:30. It didn't get an answer, so I thought I'd try again. You're kind of a difficult man to get a hold of, Chris.
Yeah, I can
All
talk for a few minutes. So let's try not to belabor this conversation.
Oh, not at all. I don't want to drag anything out. Well, first I'll ask you if you have anything specific you want to bring up, because I know you had to go kind of abruptly last time, and I thought maybe there was a point you didn't get to or anything.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to go ahead with that?
Well, first off, I have gone to Wikipedia recently. The ads are still supersized, but they are more of a mockery towards me now, and I do not appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Mao is kind of he's got a little bit of a temper. He's just kind of mad about this whole the mailbag situation. Emails getting deleted and all that sort of thing. I saw in one of your mailbags that you said that I delete or modify a lot of my emails. I don't know where you got that impression. I don't do that. I try to answer every email I get, thoughtfully and fully.
Well, that's probably easy for you. That's probably easier for you because yours are not as mean and cruel and condescending as the ones I've been getting.
Have you been getting a lot of mean ones that don't go into the mailbag? Because the ones I see, a lot of them, they do get kind of critical at points, but I don't know. It seems like they just kind of want to, have some questions answered.
Yeah, but I wish they wouldn't have to go so critical.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what are some of the things that you found just kind of crossed the line?
Like they talk about copyright issues and crap.
Well, that is kind of an important issue. I mean,
that.
Yeah, I know. I noticed
I had my own copyright registration. That slip of paper I got from the Virginia Library of Congress.
Yeah, I noticed one of the copyright-related emails was someone asked if they could see, just some letter or some evidence that Sega and Nintendo gave you, permission to go with Sonic and Pikachu and that kind of stuff for Sonic 2's origin story. I think if you provided those, that would silence those kind of emails right away.
Yeah.
You do have copyright of Sonic 2, but you would still need to show Nintendo's permission to publish it. You know what I mean? Because you do make use of Pikachu in the origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be a good idea to show everyone in the mailbag. That would shut up that line of questioning right away.
Yeah, but then there's also the homosexuals and other topics. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, there's quite a few.
Like the accusations that Rose Chew was a boy. I think that was kind of a big thing, wasn't it? People are going after that now.
Yeah, definitely before the Rainbow Strike. The point where that female Raichu, is within the rainbow. That would be after the rainbow strikes that Raichu. And with the power of the chaotic crystals.
Well,
it would put the point. It would add the point to the end of that tale. Whereas in the two panels that preceded it, the tale was definitely dull on the end.
Well, as far as I know, the original comic does have a pointy tail, like a male has, and that's still on your website, isn't it? One thing I thought about was Well, actually, those gender differences in the Pokemon, that didn't really, Nintendo didn't do that until well after you created Sonichu, right? So, I mean, I just don't get why you didn't go with that. That would have been a good explanation, but instead you kind of lied to your fans.
What do you mean lie? I did not lie. I mean, you look at the two pictures before the rainbow hits, the tail is dull on the tip.
Oh, well, I see that in your picture that's on, the front of the Wikipedia, but the original comic, he had a pointy tail, or she, I mean.
The original comic, it's because, look, outside of the, that's just a line that went outside of the square. Whatever goes outside the square does not necessarily count.
It doesn't look like it goes, like, outside of the panel here, but, I mean, it's, I don't really know what to, I mean, I know that you don't, you probably should have corrected that mistake, but you left it in. I mean, I'm just trying to, I just kind of wish this thing had gotten nipped in the bud. It's kind of sucks that this is like a huge point of contention right now.
Yeah. Oh, and also, another thing, I actually found a forum of my loyal fans, and I have just read some of their posts about the ads that have been placed on the Wikipedia, and they really don't like them either.
Mm.
So I'm not alone in that.
All right. Well, it's if they wanted to buy the ad space, that's that I'm sure they could too. I mean, again, the ads. I'm going to keep trying to talk to Mao, but it's really his area. Mao's kind of the boss of the ads. I'm just kind of the artistic genius. Mao does the business work.
Yeah, and I definitely do not appreciate that drawing of me in a diaper, and then just copying and pasting my signature to that. That's just wrong.
Well, I noticed that even after our last talk, you continued referring to Asperchu as Mitch. I mean, I kind of thought we had that cleared away. That you knew he was Asperchu. I mean, Asperchu is my original creation.
Yeah, maybe so, but still.
And I think you still have the impression that Asperchu is a Sonichu, and that's not true, right? Asperchu is not a Sonichu.
Yeah, okay, but still think about this. You gave him the condition of Asperger's.
Yes, that's correct. Oh, that's another thing. I think you thought that I gave everyone that appeared in my comic Asperger's, but only Asperchu has it. Just so you know, just Asperchu.
Well,
I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
Anyway, still, I think you can understand, since you have Asperger's, and considerably with me with my autism, that we really don't want to be treated as quote unquote special because of our mental conditions. We want to be treated as equal individuals.
Well, that's certainly true. But how do you think I've been portraying Asperchu as being treated different?
Because try to put yourself in the shoes of your Asperchu. Not only would you want to be treated as an individual equal, but
that's how I portray him. He does everything normal people do.
You would not want a name that emphasizes the mental condition. You want a name that is more manly, more.
Chris, we don't. We don't choose our names. I mean, our names are given to us. Asperchu never chose his name. I mean, think of it this way. The name Asperchu. If you think of that as a detriment, I don't. But if you interpret the comic that way, think of it as a personal, a sort of character flaw, if you will, that he has to work to overcome. And all good characters have character flaws.
Yeah.
And it's fiction. I mean, sometimes characters don't always live the happiest lives in fiction, but that's part of what makes good fiction.
Yeah. But still, I mean, yeah, with that, think about it. I mean, what if your parents had named you Asper? Because they were like as if like a foretell, you had Asperger. You would have Asperger's.
Well,
but you would not want that. But if was being treated, wanting to be treated as an equal in society, you would not want to be called Asper because that emphasizes the mental condition you have.
Okay, Chris, that's part of the again the character flaw. Asper has things weighing him down. He has, curses and not literal curses, but he has detriments to his life that weigh him down as a character, and he has to work to overcome those. That's part of what makes a good character. I mean, you wouldn't make a character that's just all powerful and perfect in every way and has no real problems ever, would you? That'd be kind of boring. Complex characters have problems that they overcome.
Yeah.
And it takes time to overcome a serious problem. I mean, you just renamed him Mitch. I mean, that wouldn't do it. You can't just go in and snap your fingers and just wave the problem away. And I mean, one, that's not realistic, and two, that doesn't make for good fiction. I mean, all the suspense and drama you're building up, your readers wouldn't really like that if you just kind of hand waved it away. Don't you think?
All right. Yeah. Okay, but still.
Think about it like this. Superman is named Superman because he's super, right? And Superman is one of the most popular characters.
I mean, as an individual within his own world, outside of your control, Asperger would not want that name. He would be in agreement with me and probably want to change his name to something like Mitch.
But the thing there is, Asper2 is not outside my control because it's a comic, and I am the creator and, manager of his comic universe. So as his creator, I decide what Asper2 wants and what he doesn't want and what his personality is like. I mean, don't you think?
Fairly. Have you ever watched the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes, I have. It was a good movie.
Yeah. You got the whole Toon world there, and within that, it would coincide with the comic book world, and every individual comic, published or unpublished, drawn all together. And within the world actually would reside your Asper2, but he would be with his individual thoughts, and she gave him an adult attitude. Within his individual thoughts, he would hate having the name of Asperger because it emphasizes his mental problem or his special condition, and it's like in his process of wanting to move on from that and become more acceptable in society, that he would not want a name that would make him feel.
Okay,
like as if he's still living it, even after he's fully recovered from it.
Okay, but Chris, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that was still a movie, and everything in it was predetermined by the movie writers and the director. I mean, there is no, alternate cartoon world in reality. I mean, cartoon characters don't actually think and feel things.
You don't.
I got it. Okay, here's the question.
Obviously, are naive about that because you're not understanding that possibility of that universe actually existing.
So you do believe that when an artist creates a cartoon character, that character actually becomes real? Is that what you're saying to me?
Within that universe, yes.
But the universe is fake. I mean, the Asper2 universe exists on paper and in my computer. It's whatever I write it to be. Oh, here's a question for you. Okay, so if you think a character would want, an appropriate name, a good name, not a name that, calls them out on something or sets them back. Sonichu is the name of a species, correct? I mean, yeah. There's Sonichus and Rosechus. Those are a species, right?
Yeah, but he was the first one. He was the first original Sonichu, and she was the original Rosechu.
But wouldn't they still want their own name?
And they each came up with their name on their own. And they did not need a nickname to go with that.
Okay, but Chris, if you're a human being, would you be comfortable just being named human or man? I mean, would you be comfortable if the name Christian Weston Chandler, didn't exist and you were just called man or person or something? I mean, Homo sapiens. If someone calls you Homo sapiens.
Yes, but still, I was not the very first human being, and I actually had parents who gave me that name. Sonichu came in, he had to come up with his own name.
Sonichu had you that gave him the name, didn't he? I mean, within the comic, Christian Weston Chandler is Sonichu's father, right? I mean, why wouldn't your cartoon self give him a name?
Well, that's the cartoon me versus the real me.
Okay, but isn't the cartoon you... Like you said, cartoons are, basically real. I mean, so shouldn't the cartoon version of you be just like you? Wouldn't you want to give your child a name? I mean,
I did give him a name. He's the original Sonichu, so therefore, it's as such.
But all the other Sonichus also have, like nicknames or secondary names. So the first Sonichu, I gotta think, is feeling kind of left out.
No, he doesn't feel left out. He accepts that, and he's happy with it, just as Rosechu.
Okay, well, I don't think that Asperchu feels left out because, he's just my cartoon character. He's my property. He's, my intellectual property. That's what he is. You can't have a person as property. So, if he's my property, he's not a person. He doesn't feel things. He doesn't think.
Okay, well, still, what if you actually conceived a child with your girlfriend or wife? Then would you feel that you actually owned that child, even after you had raised it from being a baby to, let's say, late teenage years, where that child would actually feel more like an individual, independent being?
Chris, you do understand that a child, a human being, is substantially more than a comic character, right? They're not the same thing. They're not even close. Of course I would name a child. Children are real, and children are not our property. I mean, if I had a child, I would give it all the love and support it needed, but it is its own person, or he or she, I should say. Whereas a comic character is it's whatever you draw on paper or in Photoshop. I mean, when I draw Asperchu on paper, that's the only place he exists. And then I upload him onto my computer, and that's where he exists. And then he exists on the web. So as a character, he grows, but he's never a person.
Well, anyway, it's just something for you to think about. Okay, yeah.
We can agree to disagree.
What if she was on the other foot? What if Asperchu created you?
Well, then I'd be a comic character myself, and I wouldn't have any thoughts or feelings. So that's a moot point.
You think that comic character would not have their own thoughts and feelings?
No.
Are naive.
Chris, you have told me that you think that a comic character is fundamentally as much of a person as a real human being. That is the naive thought.
No,
I'm the writer. I'm like the god of the Asperchu world. I decide what goes on in Asperchu's world. I decide who and what Asperchu is and what he thinks and feels, if anything, which he doesn't because it's still just a character on paper. And when I put the pen down, Asperchu stops being there. I mean, nothing exists in Asperchu's world that I haven't drawn.
Boy,
and it's naive to think that there's anything more. I think we should agree to disagree on this point because we both have our own thoughts on it. I kind of want to ask you about. I'm actually getting some letters about Sonichu, about why you're not updating daily, and I was kind of curious about that.
But for your information, I am updating daily. I draw I draw and cover my 2 pages a day. I can't help it if I don't have access to my computer, or if I can't get to it right away. Besides which, my biological clock has been fickle on me as for making me fall asleep earlier.
Well, I understand.
It's been difficult to rearrange my schedule and get back in a synchronized routine like I would be.
Maybe you could get an alarm clock. You know, I'm just kind of curious. Like, I know it takes what, like an hour to do each page. Is that about what you spend? I would kind of guess. I'm just kind of confused why I would spend an hour to draw a page, but not take the extra 60 seconds to upload it. I think consistency is an important thing.
But wait a minute, it takes more than 60 seconds to scan it and fit it in Photoshop, then upload it. It probably would take half an hour for all that to work.
I didn't know that you did Photoshop work with your pages. What do you use Photoshop for, if I may ask? I'm just kind of curious. I thought you just
to change it from handwritten text to more legible typed text.
If I remember right, I think kind of one of the criticisms you had about Asperture was that it was not completely, hand-drawn original, because I do use Photoshop in part of my creative process. But it sounds like you actually do kind of the same thing, which is, that's fine. I mean, digital media is where the art world is going. But I thought that you drew it all on paper and then uploaded it.
For information, I did draw it all on paper. The only part that I edit in Photoshop is the text, what you read.
Okay, but it just seems a little hypocritical that you do use Photoshop in the creative process, but you criticize me for it. I mean, don't you think?
No, actually, what I thought is that you skip the hand drawing and you draw everything on your Photoshop with the computer mouse.
Well, I don't. Here's what I do. I do sometimes draw the pages on paper. I'm kind of trying to shy away from that because, our society wastes so much paper, so I'm trying to be a little, socially responsible. But what I do, I use a tablet, and I draw on that. And that's basically the same thing as pen and paper, except what I draw just goes right onto the computer screen. So I don't use a mouse. Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, but still, it's crappy compared to mine. Even my mother agrees.
Oh, hey, come on. That's a little insulting, Chris. What do you mean crappy? I mean, my mother says that my comic is, the most beautiful comic she's ever seen too. But I kind of think that's just because she's a supportive mother. Mothers are supposed to support their children in their endeavors. And I have, got 20,000 fans now that love it too. None of them are my mother. My mother doesn't actually use a computer. I just show her the printouts. I get complimented on my art all the time. I mean, it's okay to disagree. I'm curious why you think it's crappy.
Because it's computer drawn. It's not originally hand-drawn.
I just told you it is hand-drawn. It's hand-drawn on the tablet. What do you mean it's not original hand-drawn?
You don't have the old-fashioned original pencil or pen markings. That's what I have.
So because I don't have, smudge marks on my paper, is that what you mean? That was another reason I went into the tablet, because I got a lot of smudge marks on my paper when I was doing that, and then I had to, spend extra time erasing it. Okay, by comparison, could I say that our car is not, true original transportation because, people should be using old-fashioned horses? I mean, you use Photoshop for lettering and effects. We're one and the same here, Chris. And again, even if I just don't see why, the exact method I use to draw determines the skill of my art. I mean, weren't you? I remember recently, didn't you put a live picture of yourself in your comic for some Guitar Hero scene? I mean, you didn't draw that part in, did you?
it at least allows me to actually put myself in my work. You see, a bigger difference between drawing with a tablet or a mouse versus hand-drawn is that you see more personality with the pen markings and color and marker colorings versus what's digitally entered.
Well, if you feel that way,
if
you feel that way, I respect your opinion. But I mean, 20,000 fans can't be wrong, and not a single one of them have ever, said anything.
Well, let me give you a better example on that. Okay, say you got two letters from two exact same letters from the same person, one handwritten and one computer typed and printed. Which one do you think would have more personality that would appeal to you better?
I honestly don't remember the last time anyone wrote me a handwritten letter. I mean, I don't remember the last time I wrote a handwritten letter. I type everything, every kind of writing that I do. I mean, typing looks more professional.
Professional, yes, but
I mean, handwritten wouldn't get you a job or anything.
At least I have had all the practice of handwriting, and there's more character, more personality put into it in handwriting versus what you would just see every every in a monosynchronic sense.
Do you know why you see it every day, everywhere, Chris? You see it everywhere because it works. Because that's what people prefer. I think we're getting kind of like off topic. I mean, I kind of want to go back to I understand it can be difficult to to get to your computer and upload things in a timely fashion. Sometimes you're not at your computer, things like that. But I mean, Sonic is your franchise. A lot of fans I know are getting kind of fed up that you don't have pages uploaded every day. I mean, Sonic 2 is that's your franchise, right? I don't know. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my day too, but I make sure to get at least 1 or 2 pages uploaded every day, which has been more difficult since my school term started because I'm in full-time school and I work still. I'm still working at the station, but it's just a recommendation. That I know it's difficult, but I recommend that you try. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I have been drawing the pages, and like I said, I cannot help it if I can't upload on some days, but at least I do upload them in the bulk on when I can upload.
For a while, for a couple of months, you were uploading most every day, weren't you? I mean, has your schedule gotten busier recently?
I've been falling asleep earlier. And with that, it was hard for me to readjust my schedule.
Chris, if I fell asleep on my job, I'd probably lose my job. I mean, Sonic 2 is supposed to be your big franchise, right? I mean, if I fell asleep while drawing Asperchu and I started missing days, I would buy myself an alarm clock. Or I would upload them earlier before I knew I was going to get tired or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
anyway,
I know that you're losing
my
fans.
schedule around, and I just haven't been able to get it in sync yet.
What's, if I may ask, has something been going on that's kind of throwing your schedule for a loop? I mean, you haven't made videos in the past couple of days, but, prior to that, you were making videos fairly frequently, mostly attacking me.
Originally, when I did the videos, it was not necessarily on a daily basis. That's not like a journal. Video is not like a journal to me.
No, but, if you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes making a video, that's time that you could be uploading the comic. But instead, you made videos attacking me.
And plus the battery power of my digital camera is fickle.
What does your digital camera have to do with uploading pages? I'm saying you shouldn't be using the camera. You shouldn't be making videos. Do you know why I haven't made any videos, Chris? It's because I don't have time. I'm uploading pages. That and I don't want to make death threats to people on the internet. That's not a...
No.
I mean, it really hurt my feelings when you started doing those, Chris, because, like I said, you started as my inspiration, and a couple months later you became my troll. I know you have trolls. It sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks to have people attacking you like that.
I
And then
will.
you became my troll.
I will. How about if you just tell Mal that if you just, I'll leave y'all alone, let y'all do your thing, y'all take your ads off my website.
That's just not a sound business move for me, Chris. Those ads are bringing in a lot of viewers.
So put them on another website.
Well, what if that website tells me that, they don't want them there? Then should I move to another website, and then another, and then another? Mal's job is to bring in fans for me. That's what he's doing, and he's doing it well. And that's why I keep him.
Mal never asked me before he put anything up there, or before he paid off Jack Thaddeus.
He doesn't have to. That's the way ads work. You buy ad space that's publicly available. Advertising is not under your control.
Yeah. But I was never there to witness that monetary transaction. I was never there for that quote unquote agreement.
You don't own the site, Chris.
What?
You don't own that site, right? I mean, the money for my ads go to keep that site up. That's my understanding.
Actually, you're wrong. You see, Mal gave that 2,000 euros directly to Jack Thaddeus, and Jack Thaddeus actually put that 2,000 euros into the Wikipedia funds. So therefore, Mal never saw his money in the Wikipedia funds. It just went straight to Jack.
I'm not really sure, I mean, I've never spoken to Jack. I don't know anything about what he and Mal talked about. I'd kind of like to help you out. Honestly, I would, but I'm still I'm a little miffed that, even after we had a pretty good talk last time, but you still kept going with this whole Mitch business. I mean, you took my character and altered him, and you say that I didn't get permission to use Sonichu, but you didn't get permission to use Astrochu either.
Yeah, well...
Or Simon Chu. I almost forgot to mention that. Evan wanted me to talk to you about that, about using Simon Chu. Simon Chu was his creation, and he used that without permission. And he's asked you several times to get rid of Simon Chu and Simonla or whatever her female form is. But
but actually, Simonla was never really inspired from Simon Chu. I took an original Rose Chu, I changed her to a ground color, gave her the complexion, added an armadillo shell, and then a few drills in appropriate places.
So kind of like how I took a Sonic and made him yellow and gave him a goatee and glasses and a Buddha belly, and thus was born Astrochu. And you thought it was a parody, but it just happened to be. Is that kind of what you're going for there? I mean, why didn't you just say that to Evan in the first place? Because he's been emailing you for a long time.
I told him. I told him that in response to one of his messages in the mailbag. But apparently he had not read that.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at the Simonla page on your Wikipedia here. You say that, I'll just read what it says here. About on or before August 26, 2008, I received an email from Evan George submitting his Sonichu fan art to me, then later submitted his idea for Simon Chu. It did not strike me as good at first. But for a few months, I wanted to create a ground type. So from Simon Chu, I created Simone LaRose Chu. That's on the Simone article on your Wikipedia. I mean, that's smoking gun, Chris. That's proof that you used Simon Chu as a base. I'm not trying to attack you with this, but I really think this is evidence that you should get rid of Simon Chu and Simone Law. Write them out. Because the facts are right there, Chris.
Well, actually, that was not fair. I typed it in like that because Evan was badgering me as such, and it just stuck in my head. It just pretty much stuck when I typed that in originally.
Why would that just stick in your head? Why would that happen? Why would it stick in your head unless it's true?
I put it in there to make a mockery out of him.
Well, then you kind of lied about it to people, didn't you? I mean, because everyone else thinks that that's the honest truth.
Well, I can change that and fix it.
Doesn't matter. You already established it. I mean, when it comes to like copyright and that sort of thing, Chris, I mean, the one thing that matters more than anything else is documentation and history. And all of your documentation shows that you use Simon Chu as inspiration. You acknowledge legal liability here. Whether it was a joke or not, you wrote it like it was real. And Evan's been pestering me to talk to you because apparently you're ignoring his emails. Although you ignore my emails too. I mean, like I said, it was a pain just to get a hold of you. I mean, for a guy who has so much to say to me, you are hard to get a hold of. I mean, I want to let you know that you do need to comply with Evan's demands. Because he's talking about litigation, and if he wants to go get a lawyer over this, he said that he'd back off if you acknowledge in the comic and write Simon Chu and Simone out, and say that they will be done and gone forever. He has the copyright for Simon Chu. I mean, would you be willing to do that? Write them out?
I'll think about it.
Okay, well, don't think too long. I mean, this is a serious issue. I'm just trying to give you advice, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't want to see litigation come out of this.
Anyway, I'm feeling tired right now.
Okay, well, maybe I'll let you go. You have a good night, Chris.
All right. Good night.
Good night.